Hey everybody, if you're a restaurant or hotel business, you know how crucial it is to manage costs without sacrificing quality. That's where FoodBuy, the largest GPO in the industry, comes in. With FoodBuy, you gain access to exclusive pricing, unmatched buying power, and a vast network of trusted suppliers, all designed to help you save time and money. Whether you're running a high-end hotel or a bustling restaurant, FoodBuy is your one-stop partner to streamline purchasing and get the best deals. Want to see how they're changing the game? Visit foodbuy.com today and take your supply chain to the next level. That's foodbuy.com, making smarter purchasing easier than ever.
Live from Pepsi Studios in New York City, it's the Hospitality Hangout Podcast with the restaurant guy and the finance guy. Everything is better with Pepsi.
That's right. This is our Pepsi shout out. I want to welcome you all more formally to the Hospitality Hangout, where the founders at Branded Hospitality share their insights and bring technology and innovation and restaurant company leaders that are making things happen in the industry we love. My name is Jimmy Frischling, otherwise known as the finance guy, and I'll throw it back to my brother from another mother, Mr. Michael Schatzberg, otherwise known as the restaurant guy.
Jimbo, I love it. We've got an incredible show. I got to tell you, an incredible show, and thank you for that kind introduction. And Jimbo, you know that we are at the intersection of a lot today. We're at the intersection of hospitality, capital, investing, technology, franchising, emerging brands, and fine dining restaurants. Multi-unit fine dining restaurants. I think that's our specialty.
That is some intersection that we're at. By the way, do you want us to call you Michael in this episode? Because I didn't hear you.
And hey, for everyone listening out there, you know, you can call me Shetz. Thank you. Thank you. I just want to make sure we get that clear. And it's my birthday today, Jimbo. I just wanted to tell you, because I just got back from QSR Evolution. I think I had 5 birthdays there. You know the ongoing joke over there with my birthday, so I don't have to tell you because you're probably part of it. You and Josh Halpern make that happen.
Yeah, and Mr. Alexander, the chairman of the board, every time we get together with Shatzy at a dinner, it's kind of like when we used to go to Benihana, you know, back in the day, and you want to tell them it's your birthday, so you get the dessert and then kind of the candles.
100%.
So every time we go out, we say it's Shatzy's birthday.
I got to tell you, I mean, people are coming up to me at events now. Oh, hey, happy birthday. I'm like, hey, thanks. Listen, Jim, before we get into it, I got to just tell you one thing.
Please.
You know, listen, we've been working a lot with Pepsi, and we love what Pepsi does over there. I got to tell you, Pepsi has launched their Drips campaign. That's Drips, D-R-I-P-S. That's their Pepsi Drips campaign. I got to tell you, this Pepsi truck, they took a what's that you know, the trailer, Airstream.
Airstream.
They decked out an Airstream. The coolest thing I've ever seen. They decked this baby out. It's Drips by Pepsi. It's a phenomenal campaign. It's been going on for just a couple weeks. They just launched it. It will be in New York City, actually, at Summer Stage. At Summer Stage Central Park, Jimbo, you know that. Yes. Many things still be there, by the way. It's going to be for 2 nights over there at Summer Stage. If you want, we get you some tickets over there. It's Drips by Pepsi. And then it's going over to Domino Park in Williamsburg. And it'll be over there on the 14th through the 29th on Saturdays and Sundays only.
I like this.
And let me tell you, Jimbo, I got to tell you, we worked with them. I mean, we know what's going on. We were their restaurant experts, helping them navigate the world of, because it's the first time they basically opened up a restaurant. They opened up a restaurant. Pepsi has a restaurant now, and it's Drips by Pepsi. They created, because, you know, non-alcoholic cocktails, or what do they call them? Like Swiggy or Swig. You know, those kind of beverages. Dirty sodas. Yeah. I couldn't get it out of my dirty sodas.
I think we owe Andrew Smith like a royalty. We think dirty soda. I think we owe Smith.
Yeah, I go right to Swig. So dirty sodas are hot right now, as everybody knows. So Pepsi, you know, being that they're like the coolest company, and they do some great marketing, you know they do.
Everything's better with Pepsi.
Everything is better with Pepsi. There? So Drips by Pepsi. They were just at Penn State, and I saw it. I got to tell you, they were waiting online. It had to be thousands and thousands of students at Penn State were waiting online. They've got Pepsi Forever S'mores. That's Pepsi with coconut, blah, 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 blah. You know, they use you would like this one, Starry Berry Basil. That's your favorite, Jimbo.
Actually,
there's no tequila in it, Jimmy.
Don Julio's
There's
story
no
is my
Don
favorite.
Julio in that. But it's strawberry and basil, and it's great. I think the number one seller, they told me, was Lipton Mango Horchata. Lipton lemon iced tea with mango coconut horchata over strawberry boba, finished with cold foam.
Wow, there's a lot there.
There is. That was the number one. I think the number two was, they own Tropicana. So it was Tropicana cotton candy lemonade. Tropicana lemonade over candy Bubba. Bubba? Is that like Data and Data? Is it
Data.
Bubba, like Bubba Fett?
Bubba Fett?
Bubba Fett? Well, anyway, listen, I just want to do a shout out to Drips by Pepsi because they were killing it. So enough talk about that. Jimbo, let's get into it because we got another amazing guest over here, and I got to tell you, he's got to get back to running because he's got like a 400 high-end fine dining restaurants, and he can't be sitting here with us all day.
Our guest and our friend does have a lot going on, so we are excited to have Mr. Chip Wade, CEO of Union Square Hospitality.
Wait, say that again, Jimmy, because I want everyone to hear that. Because CEO,
our friend and the CEO of Union Square Hospitality Group, Mr. Chip Wade, is actually not just on the podcast with us, is live, truly, in the studio.
I think the worst thing that ever happened to Chip was that he sat like next to you on a flight, and that was it. That was the downfall of Chip. Because once he sat next to you, it was like hook, line, and say, hey, Chip, you got to do the podcast. Oh God!
I was going to mention that
Chip's like, I'm never flying on this flight again. I'm never flying commercial again.
We did fly to a conference together, and he had a banged up.
He had a big boot on.
On a boot on, and he was, we want to leave people alone on the flight. And I said,
no, that's not your.
And I'm like, well, I'm gonna introduce myself. And so he said, if you're quiet for the entire flight,
just
I'll do your podcast. That's how this happens. You don't say one word to me.
Just don't speak, and I'll do it.
And I'll do the podcast, and he's here to pay up for that. So there we have it. Listen, we are gonna let Chip get involved with this episode. It's not just
we got 30 more minutes of
bantering while Mr. Wade is with us. But our listeners know we enjoy playing. Our podcast gets released on Tuesdays. We want to play our Trivia Tuesday, never to be confused with Taco Tuesday. I think y'all know how to play the game. Shachi's an expert. I'm going to share 3 factoids about our friendship. 2 of them are true. 1 is less than true or not true.
I've been crushing it on this.
Also known as a lie. Okay, but really, it's 2 truths and a lie. Okay,
a fib, Jimmy.
A fib. Here we go. The 3 factoids. Fact 1. Chip was born in Santiago, Chile.
I love the way you say that.
Santiago.
Oh.
Fact 2. Chip collects rare and antiquarian books.
Wait, what?
And Chad, since I knew you were going to ask me what that means, these are books that derive value from the edition, the quantity of or quality or quantity of the printing, the binding, the illustrations. No one's making it up.
Yeah,
They're antiquarian books.
That's got to be true.
But I knew you were going to say, "What the hell is that?" I didn't want to muff it up. It is a book that derives value beyond just the book itself. It's the asset that again.
Chip's nodding, so he seems to know a lot about that. So I'll say that's true.
And fact 3. And my wife would actually love this one because she's a huge fan too. Chip is a fanatic. I didn't say Chip was a fan. This could be the lie. Fact 3. Chip is a fanatical fan of DMB, also known as Dave Matthews Band. Fanatical.
Wow, this
Dave
is really,
Matthews
so
Band.
I know the whole book thing is true because who can make that up? How do you even make that up?
Be a great head fake though.
Yeah.
Hell of a head fake.
Who can even know what antiquarian? I can't even say it. You know I'm a 4-letter word kind of guy, Jimbo.
Yeah, 4-letter. Yes, you are.
That's me. 5, I get confused. Unless it's an
Please
S.
stick around to the end of the episode. We'll ask Shachi to guess which 2 are true, which one is less than, and we'll have some fun with that and learn a little bit more about each of those factoids about Chip. So
we're gonna get into it, Jimbo. But I got one. We always like to find out how did our guests. Elliot, how do you become the CEO of one of the most famous restaurant groups in the world, I dare say?
Yeah.
I said it.
It is one of the most.
I mean, how do you do it? So I like to try and find out from our listeners so they can become and knock Chip, out and take his job. Yeah. I mean, that's the job. I mean, didn't get Chip's job is the job, right? So what do you do? So Chip's first job, age 15, Jimmy. Okay. He's at his local Dunkin Donuts in Santiago, Chile.
No.
Outside his home in Philly.
Yes.
Okay. And his manager became like an older brother to him. And it was his manager that convinced him to go to culinary school. So that's where it all started. It all started back at Dunkin Donuts. I know you know it as Dunkin', Jimbo, but me, an old guy with Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes.
So at Dunkin', he goes to Johnson & Wales, a little university known for their putting out, amazing culinary experts, right? 1983. While at Johnson & Wales, he worked as an opening fry cook for Bennigan's. Remember Bennigan's? And they're still back. They're back. That's like part of that legendary brands, right? And he's a room service waiter at the Hotel DuPont. I thought it was DuPont. Is it DuPont? Is that a typo? That was the Hotel DuPont in Delaware. Very famous. Very chic, very famous. The DuPont family was all they all the paint. All the paint in the hotel, they did all the paint. It was gorgeous. I mean, the DuPonts gave all the paint in there. It was great. He went to Widener University and hospitality admin in 1985. Got his MBA at the University of Texas in Dallas. I mean, the guy's going to school, learning, honing the craft. Then he goes to TGIFs. 14 years at TGIFs. Jimbo. I mean, TGIFs, that's the OG, right?
One of the OGs.
I mean, that's the OG.
Tom Cruise.
Becomes senior vice president. Here's where things get really hairy and crazy. Senior vice president of Smoky Bones. Okay? He's there. He loves it. Loves the whole barbecue thing. He's digging it. Smells good. He loves the food. Then he gets a little itch for seafood. Loving that legal seafood up in Boston. He loves it. Becomes the COO. Jimbo, so here it goes. You see what's happening here?
Got to see in the title now. Got to see.
Dunkin' Donuts gets the itch. He's like, you know what? This is nice, but not for me. Goes to Senior Vice President Darden. I think they know a little something, right? He's at Darden for 6 years. Red Lobster. 5 years at Red Lobster. And Jimbo, you know what happens after that? Take a guess.
I think he goes to Union Square Hospitality Group.
That's right. So listen, kids out there. If you want to become the CEO of Union Square Hospitality Group, what you need to do is start at Dunkin' Donuts. You got to go to Johnson & Wales, get your MBA at University of Texas, Dallas, go to TGI, Smoky Bones, Legal Seafood, Darden, Red Lobster, and then you know what happens? Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the CEO, I like to say the chairman of the board of Union Square Hospitality, Mr. Chip Wade. It is so great to have you here. What did we get right? What did we get wrong? Tell us all.
Oh my God! What a introduction!
45 minutes.
I am delighted to be here and smiling ear to ear. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It's awesome having you.
Yeah.
Jimbo, let's get right into it, man.
Actually, we really are excited for this episode. I really am confused how we keep getting such amazing guests. We can't pay them what they deserve. In fact, we can't pay them.
We've upped the ante.
In fact, we can't pay them anything. But no, I know it's always going to be a good episode when we have breaking news, and I feel.
Don't tell me we have breaking news right now.
And I feel particularly, I'm in our partner and our producers' good favors because I get to do the breaking news. Daily Provisions, really one of the great brands of the Union Square Hospitality portfolio, is expanding. And by the time this episode is released, we're talking imminently, they would have opened location number 6 on the Upper East Side. Shatsy, where you and I
got to tell you, I'm loving it because, the first Daily Provisions right downstairs from our office. So I've been eating that. I mean, they got an egg sandwich over there. It's like you died and went to heaven.
Well, let Chip talk about, because it is truly a unique and hospitable, welcoming. I mean, the food is amazing and how many different meals they cover.
And it's such a small restaurant.
And they have 3 more locations under construction. So this is breaking news. Chip, we'd like to ask you, can you give us the scoop on the new locations, plans, certainly in and around New York City?
Does Chip get to answer this?
He does, and beyond New York City. But talk about Daily Provisions, because it really is a tremendous brand that you guys have created.
Well, thank you. Again, delighted to be here.
That's a lie, but it's good for the guests. We appreciate that.
Talking about Daily Provisions.
Is it true it was your idea?
Not at all. I need to give all the credit to Danny Meyer, right? Danny, his partner, Richard Carrain, who we call RC.
Yeah, we know Richard, sure.
Absolutely. We often refer to Daily Provisions as a happy accident, in the sense that, as you know the story, but for the rest of our listeners, Danny was moving the original Union Square Cafe from 16th Street to 19th Street. And
right downstairs from our Pepsi studios, everybody.
Exactly. And when he was in design, essentially there was about 900 square feet left that he did not want to expand into Union Square Cafe. And like every...
I got to interrupt. You know what that was, Jimbo?
I know what that was, yeah.
It was Dukes.
It was Dukes.
It was Dukes,
That's right.
man. Oh, man.
That's exactly right.
The original Dukes original Roadhouse.
Yeah.
And so every brilliant and Danny is a brilliant
Without a
restaurateur, began thinking, what does the city of New York need, right? And he really thought, New Yorkers need a great breakfast place to get the quintessential bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. It needs a great place to get coffee, great salads. And then this is the third part, which is we need a place where New Yorkers on their way home can grab a rotisserie chicken,
Boom.
a half bottle of wine, head to their condo and enjoy. So Daily Provisions was created as a happy accident.
I got to tell you, it makes me happy every day.
I want to add our partner Dean, and Chip and I were talking about our partner Dean Palin, real estate, family, and Dean had always said to me that you, as a restaurant, you pay rent 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yep.
But most restaurants are limited to how many meals or how many hours a day they're even relevant.
I mean, dinner
And
or lunch or dinner.
Oh,
Whoa, what is this coming in
We're
here?
getting some treats.
Oh,
Thank you.
that,
Daily
huh?
Provision takes care of you from the morning until the evening, as Chip just talked about. And I find that so special. There are people who are loyalists to Daily Provisions because of that coffee with the egg sandwich and the smoked salmon, and it's a delicious the avocado toast, and then to the evening, and the chicken is out of this world. Rotisserie chicken, a half bottle of wine. So I just love that Daily Provisions is really, we didn't do it. Dean's comment was, restaurants pay rent 24/7. Tell me how many meals we can serve. Daily Provisions, morning, noon, and night.
I heard, and Chip, you can tell me if I'm right. That restaurant downstairs is doing $5 million a year. Just nod, wink. I won't. You cannot confirm or deny. I heard it's
Don't
insane.
put our friendship on the spot like that.
It's the size of our office. I mean, this podcast studio, I should say.
Yeah.
Don't tell me. Just
What
tell
I
me.
will tell you is I am really happy with the revenue that comes out of Daily Provisions.
Yeah, but that store kills it.
It really does.
Because our office is here, so I see what goes on every day. People are sitting outside having fun. They're enjoying it. Just like you said, you start the day there and they end the day there.
And what, Danny, we now have a president of Daily Provisions, Zach Koff. We're all intimately involved in this intersection, you used that phrase earlier, of delicious food in a chef-driven environment, in an intimate space, but hospitality, right? The legendary Union Square Hospitality Group, the warmth, the friendliness, the gracious, this notion of us caring about the guests. And so that's what makes Daily Provisions really, really special.
I love it.
Yeah.
And this is delicious, by the way.
Yeah, what do we eat?
Yeah.
What do we have?
So,
Like cinnamon donuts?
What a crullers.
Crullers.
It's a cruller.
No.
As someone that grew up as you noted, in Dunkin Donuts, this is a cruller. The cruller is a pâte choux dough. That's a French term. But it is designed to be kind of light and airy, but you get some crisp texture on the outside.
Did they have crullers in Santiago, Chile? Yeah,
There you go. I like the way you did that.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm doing everything I can to win that match game.
Jimbo,
Well played.
he's paying attention.
Yeah.
Paying attention.
Jim, I want to get back, Jimbo, to your question about number 6 did open on the Upper East Side. We're very, very
Where's it
excited.
opening?
96 in Madison.
All right,
Wow.
that's close enough for us.
Very close. Close to the big hospital complex.
Yep. Mount Sinai.
You crush it.
Exactly right. And so we have announced Daily Provisions at Rockefeller Center.
Oh, my goodness.
Just literally kind of overlooking, if you will, the ice skating rink. We have announced Daily Provisions in Brookfield Place, who are just an outstanding partner. So we're excited about that. And we've announced one in Jersey City.
Is it fair to say, Chip Wade, live on the podcast, that Daily Provisions is the next Shake Shack? Go.
I'm going to say no.
Aw.
I'm going to say...
You let us down.
Hold on.
Right.
Let's give the chance.
It is one of the most frequently asked questions. So I'll wear my hat of I'm extremely excited. We are extremely excited. Shake Shack is a business, a brand of 500 units, and it's global. We have the potential to scale and grow, but we have to learn a lot, right?
Yeah.
And so, we are exploring new markets. We're going to explore, understandably, not just here in New York, but we'll begin to explore new markets along the Eastern Seaboard.
Where are you going? Are you in D.C. or you?
We're not in D.C.
Oh. You're only in New York right now?
We're only in New York right now. We have looked in Miami, we've looked in DC, we've looked in Boston. What gives us the license to grow is our ability to deliver great food, great hospitality in the existing 6 locations.
Yes.
And we have to do that. And when we do that every day, and people leave with smiles on their faces and their bellies are full, then it gives us the green light to go, let's sign a deal in DC.
Jimbo, I don't know what day it is, but whatever day it is, I'm saying it here live to you today from the Pepsi Studios.
Yes.
Daily Provisions will become the next Shake Shack.
Oh, so you're okay. There you
Mic
go.
drop.
All
I'm
right.
Mic drop. Mic drop.
I guess from your lips to the
And the original name was Daily. Chip puts provisions. It was kind of like that whole Facebook moment. They're like, we'll call it Daily. He's like, provisions. So thank you, Chip, for giving us that.
Yeah, we're excited. Love the brand. And we love our loyal guests that come in to
Young
sometimes it's a younger demographic,
Yeah.
and they're coming in 2-3 times a day. It's amazing.
I love it. I love it.
No, again, a big fan, loyal customer, and I agree with you. I think besides the food being outstanding, there is a hospitality, there is service that is, it's elevated. I think people don't realize that you're walking into like a little coffee shop, a little grab and go, and yet it is elevated, and it's really lovely.
Yeah.
As Brandon's finance guy, and as a finance person, I can't. I think a lot about what's going on in the world of tipping. And it's a very common right now. It's kind of it's a hot topic because it's really everywhere. You're seeing it in quick serve, in grab and go. You're seeing it even self checkout. There's an option to leave a gratuity, even though respectfully you've taken care of yourself. Union Square Hospitality Group has been one of the leaders, not just in innovation and kind of growing brands and successful
Real
restaurants.
question, Jimmy.
Yeah,
All right,
but you
just
guys
gotta go.
Oh yes, you guys have also been a pioneer when it comes to like the idea of how to create a better guest experience. And you guys launched hospitality included.
Correct.
And this will dovetail with something we're going to talk about later in terms of the workforce. But you really tried to eliminate tipping by saying, look, we're taking care of our staff, hospitality included. Can you walk us through, to the best of your ability, the decision to implement that? And then also, I think a little bit later on, you moved away from it, particularly during the pandemic.
Sure.
So I'd love to hear more about that because I think you were the leaders who tried this hospitality included, and in a time where tipping is now somewhat out of control, you guys were trying to rein that in and bring order to chaos. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, that's a great question.
I helped them script that.
yeah,
Definitely.
so-
I would have asked it quicker, but it took 20 minutes to get there, but it's a great question.
Great
got-
question.
we got this.
Hot topic. Listen, hospitality included, as you aptly described, was the non-tipping model that Danny thought of, and then the team, it predates me, created and then implemented around 2014, 2015. And what we were trying to solve, the organization was trying to solve, was a couple of things. One is we had high turnover from our culinarians, right? Our culinary, as someone that grew up in culinary and was a sous chef, our chefs were leaving the kitchen because they saw how much the servers were making. So we had this turnover issue. We have, particularly here in New York, we had, on any given night, we would have a guest, a foreign guest from France or from Italy dine in our restaurants.
They didn't tip anyway.
They didn't tip. They don't, it's not part of their
DNA.
culture.
Right.
And so Danny tells the story of a server in one of our restaurants leaving the front door to go, politely ask the guests, but they were from
Where's
Italy
my
or
tip?
where.
Was something wrong?
Right. And so you had this issue of, in New York, foreigners coming in, they love our food, they wouldn't leave a tip. And the third dynamic, and they're all interrelated, the third dynamic is like all restaurant companies, small, big, large, you take price increase every year. Naturally, the servers would get a tip just because you would increase your prices. The culinary staff would not get the same tip. And so I think that of those three, and there probably were 3 or 4 other factors, Danny asked the team to really work on a non-tipping model. And so roughly 2014, we began to implement, we increased the check in all of our restaurants, somewhere between 18 to 22%. We had to broadcast to the consumers the guests on our menus as well as our servers that we were a non-tipping model. So that was
it was a great idea. It got a lot of press.
A lot of press.
And then a couple other people followed.
There was
Tom Colicchio followed, right? A few other big guys followed.
Not to mention some national chains.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine who used to run Joe's Crop Shack, they tested out the model for a while. So Danny's an entrepreneur. Others follow. We did eliminate that practice right after COVID. And to be totally transparent, I began to look at the model itself when I joined the company in May of 19. And I began to listen to our people and learn a lot of our result of implementing HI. And what I learned, sadly, was many of our servers left.
Yep.
If you were ever a server, you want to bet on yourself. Yes. I was a server. I was a bartender.
You even challenged each other.
Yes.
I'll make more money than you tonight.
That's right.
I'll sell more wine than you.
Exactly. And if the house sets your tip, listen, I was a good server, right? Not so good bartender.
Right.
But I could count on, even when I was a server, when the norm was 15%, I was consistently getting 18, 20%, right? And then our most experienced tenured servers decided to leave. So that's not great news. We candidly struggled to communicate to the guests. So glass by the wine, someone who would go to our competitor here in New York, see that same glass of wine, compare it to what we were charging.
Couple bucks.
And all of a sudden they're like,
ripping you off.
Yes.
They're ripping me off.
Yeah.
They're ripping me off.
Yeah.
Because they weren't thinking about the 20%. They're just like $18, $20. That's a ripoff.
Exactly. Yeah. But we learned the last thing was we closed our restaurants as a result of COVID, and then we reopened. And when we reopened our restaurants, my goodness, our guests were so delighted, so happy that their favorite establishment reopened, their favorite servers.
And wanted to be generous.
Our guests were so generous. And they wanted to give 25% and 30%. I'm glad you're open.
Yeah.
And why would we stop that guest from saying, Jimmy, I'm glad you're back.
Yeah, here's an extra $20, whatever it is. Yeah.
And it was both this notion of we're glad you're back, but also, hey, I know the pain that you probably went through, so I'm going to give you an extra 10. And so shortly after we reopened in July, August timeframe of 2020, we went back to a tip-in model.
So here's my question. It's great. I love it because it's great. And I thought, and I talked about this with Jimmy and other people, like if Danny Meyer tried to eliminate tipping in this country in the restaurant environment and couldn't succeed, then in my opinion, no one else can. If he couldn't, then no one else can. So I love when I travel to Europe and other countries. I do enjoy that it's just, you don't have to think about it.
That's right.
It's just, I don't know what they pay everybody, but you know what? They're there working, and that's not my business. I go to a store and I buy a shirt. I don't know. They tell me how much it costs. I pay. So it's only really in this country that this is what you charge me, but, our staff is, so you got to, tip them. Yeah. You tip maybe a valet parker, you tip a few other things, maybe you get a haircut, but it's not part really of their salary, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Do you see a time where it can where we could eliminate tipping in this country and get there, or it is part of our DNA and it's just never gone away?
Well, what I would say is we have not given up on the notion of figuring out the solutions to the problems I previously articulated, right? And so Danny has not forgotten about it, and we have to address the issue. Because
that inequality or that the different treatment of the front and the back.
That's right.
And that still is plaguing our industry.
That's right.
But there's wacky rules out there too that don't even allow for tip pool sharing and can your money be given to someone in the back? There's so many issues at play here.
There are so many issues, and it's a broader issue. It is an industry-wide issue, number one. That requires industry thought leaders and entrepreneurs, but it also requires an elevated involvement from the state and local and federal government.
Legislatively, right?
Without
Because
question.
there's labor laws and stuff.
And I wasn't necessarily prepared to go down this.
I wasn't either. I just made that up.
But listen.
But it was interesting.
Think about this: the restaurant industry is the second largest employer in the United States.
Jimmy loves that factoid. He never lets us forget that.
Number one. Number two. When you go through a recession or downturns or a pandemic, the federal government and states governments step in at banking, at auto industry, at big pharma, big
hotels.
airlines, right? But there is a profound lack of knowledge about the restaurant industry, how we work. And so this broad topic has to be addressed with industry leaders, with state and federal leaders, and they need to understand the impact of tipping, non-tipping, et cetera.
We're too busy making everybody happy, Chip. That's what we do. It's hospitality. We're too busy serving food and making everybody happy, having a good time, right?
You know, Schatz, you mentioned, however, in Europe, tipping is not part of the culture. In fact, I think, and I've spent a lot of time having worked for some European banks, and they always make fun of the Americans. Like when, especially when we're tipping, how you don't need to do that. That's not what we do here. You're messing this all up. I was working at a French bank, Societe Generale, and I was out with my Parisian colleagues. And I'll make it short. We're at a bar or maybe even a club. The bar is 4 or 5 rows deep. And when I got to the front, I left a tip, and my Parisian colleagues made fun of me. Now in the back of the bar, and they're making fun about the tipping, and the bartender is looking over the entire crowd, pointing at me and asking, "Would you like another? Would you like another?" And I turn to my colleagues, I'm like, "Tipping doesn't matter, huh?" To ensure promptness.
Little graph goes a long way.
I was getting well served.
But I have see, that's what I'm saying. Like like I said before, you go to certain types of businesses and you have no problem giving a little extra, a little tip. I would love to find a way where it's all inclusive. It's not expected, but if something was really great at the restaurant, you throw a couple extra bucks down.
Yeah.
Well, we're not there. We'll get there, you know?
We'll get there.
But it is an interesting thing, and thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Jim, I'm going to leave that to you now.
You're going to leave that to me now to solve it?
No, I'm going to leave that to you to now ask the next question, because apparently you're up according to my notes here. You're up, unless you want me to go.
No, I'm happy to keep playing. Listen, we're
Keep playing along, Jimbo.
Yeah, listen, I actually think this dovetails really nicely into what we were just talking about. You know, talent. I understand one of the things that keeps you up at night is your team, your staff, your people.
Yep.
To be clear.
Indigestion for me, Jimbo. Mostly indigestion.
I understand that. Yeah. But for Chip and Munis Hospitality, it's his people.
No indigestion.
And it's
he's eating much better food than me.
And it's not just the battle for talent, but it's also how to nurture and grow the talent. And we've been very fortunate. We were chatting. We have had recent guests. Sam B. Bakshandapur, to be clear, from the CEO of
Wait, say that again.
Sam Bakshandapur.
Say it again.
Sam Bakshandapur. Also,
that's right. You were Sam B.
That was good.
Okay, Sam B. CEO of Jose Andres' group.
By the way, he's a remarkable leader.
Absolutely fantastic.
Most respect for him.
And then we've had Mr. John Meadows, president of LDV Hospitality, Scarpetta, American Cut, Dolce.
Both incredibly handsome, too.
And these guys...
We have very handsome guests.
Very handsome guests.
Chip, Sam, John...
Yes. And these...
We're the ugly guys.
Yeah, yes, we are. That's why I thought we were doing just faces for radio. Now you added video. Now
having these good-looking guests makes us look worse.
And why do we go to
get
video?
ugly people? We got to look for ugly people.
So anyway, they talk about hospitality as a career. And I think a lot of folks, even myself included, when I worked in the industry, to me it was a gig. It was, waiter, bartender, busboy, but I didn't think of the career. So for your company, for your business, you are working on reshaping the narrative around hospitality, and I think that was one of the efforts of Hospitality Included, was to really elevate equalize the staff. But from a hospitality as a career perspective, how are you guys working to get rid of the stereotype of a burger flipper, or it's a gig, it's just a temp job, versus something that's
he's bartending now while he looks to something else.
Yeah. But I think you guys are, again, as you've been in so many areas, leaders in that way. How are you looking at reshaping the narrative around hospitality as a career?
Yeah, because we got to find the next Chip Wade.
Yeah, so this is a topic I have a lot of passion around talking about.
We do too.
The importance of nurturing, developing the next generation of leaders. As a lad who was raised by a single mom
in Santiago,
Chile.
Santiago. Thank you. Not the alcohol.
Went there twice last year.
Yeah. To get your first job at a fast food restaurant, and fast forward, I've been remarkably blessed, serendipitous to be now the CEO. I am trying to, along with others, change that narrative. And so how do you do that? You do that a couple of ways. One is by showing people what success looks like, doing a better job of telling the narrative. One of my dear friends who sadly passed away, a gentleman by the name of Dave Pickens. Dave Pickens was the president of Olive Garden, a $3.5 billion company, and then he later was also the president of Red Lobster. And I'll briefly tell Red Lobster
for the seafood lover in you. Okay, now go.
So Dave, in 1971, is in his car, runs out of gas, and the adjacent business to the gas station is Red Lobster. He's 16 or 17 years old, 1971-ish. And he gets a job as a busboy at, remember, Red Lobster was started in 1969. This is 71, 72.
They got a couple stores, right?
Fast forward his career. Very rarely in any other industry can you go from being a busboy to a president of a $3-4 billion enterprise. And I believe that we have to do a better job of telling those stories.
Yes. How many do we see, Jimbo?
We did a podcast series down at the Prosper Forum last year.
Yeah.
6 guests, 5 CEOs who had been dishwashers. 5 of the 6.
And now they're running multi-hundred million dollar companies.
It was amazing, the career trajectory.
To me, the American dream is in hospitality.
You're exactly right. I think number 2, and by the way, let's not forget Randy Garutti, right?
Yes.
Right, and so...
Is he going to take over Daily Provisions? Tell me now. Is he going to take over Daily Provisions?
He is not.
The worst.
He is not.
Is it breaking news?
No, it's not.
Don't get Chip in trouble, man. He's having a good time.
I am so happy with our leader, Zach.
I'm just teasing.
So I think number 2 is we have to get better at building relationships with colleges and universities.
Yes.
Not just culinary schools and Cornells and the Widener universities of the world. CIAs. We have to get better.
Mainstream, like regular.
That's right. Boston University,
regular
University of Delaware. We have to go tell our story.
Yeah.
Because when these kids are graduating from college and when they're graduating with their MBAs, they naturally say, I want to go to Bain, or I want to go to Boston Consulting Group, or I want to work for
technology, Microsoft and Google and Meta.
And I'm saying, come to hospitality and watch your dreams and your careers come true.
Faster, probably, than going to those other companies.
That's exactly right. And I think, and clearly I'm biased, as we go to those campuses, as we hire more young adults, those young adults are not going to get interaction on a daily basis with the CEO of Google. It's not going to happen, right?
Probably not.
But I have people in my office who've graduated from Stanford. We just hired a young lady, I believe, Harvard, right? And I get to interface with, not that I have all the answers, but the restaurant industry allows you to have a more intimate relationship with your leaders and learn. There's one more thing.
No, go ahead.
Here's what I do, right?
It's either you or Jimmy talking.
Yeah,
I'd rather listen to you.
I started something a little over a year ago, and we have the senior leadership team. Those are my direct reports, and we have the leadership team below. Roughly 35 individuals. Some are directors, some are vice presidents. Their careers and their lives are so important to me that I meet with them every single quarter for a 2.5-3 hour session.
Individually or the team?
With the team.
Right.
And there's some Q&A. I get to learn about them. They get to ask me any questions about the career and the dreams and what's happening at Daily Provisions and what's happening in fine dining. Every quarter I give them a book to read, and every quarter we huddle together and we share, what did you learn from that book? Why do you think I asked you to read that book?
You're like Oprah. Chip Wade is the Oprah of hospitality. You hear me?
Chip Wade Book Club.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to stimulate their creativity and their learning, et cetera, et cetera.
I love it.
I'm
going
to go the Phil Jackson of hospitality.
But Oprah's got a book club. Phil Jackson has a book club, does he?
But Phil was famous for giving
Reese
players.
Witherspoon has a...
He was famous for giving books to his players, teammates, coaches, and staff,
he's a
and
big,
encouraging that type
right.
of intellectual and kind of expanding minds. He was very
That's
good at that.
exactly.
But I know we're going to move on, Chad. So I know I am talking too much, but I have one quick question before we move on.
Another question?
Yeah, just one more because while
I will allow this.
Thank you. While Unisquad Hospitality Group is certainly well deserved for its incredible food, beverages, the service, they're quite a technology user. And I know that I know that Chip and the executive team didn't go into the hospitality business to become data analysts.
No, they have not.
And to become technicians. But the fact is, there's been a wonderful coming together of our industry with tech. So my question really is if you care to share any.
There's a plug coming here somewhere.
No, share any examples.
You're wearing a hat that looks like a plug coming.
It's not even about the hat.
It's about the hat.
No, it's not about that. Examples of maybe any of the tech you're using, which are beneficial to you, your staff, your team. At the end of the day, I think technology, we're not a tech business, we're a food, beverage, people business.
Making people happy.
But tech can allow the staff to spend more quality time with the guests. So any tech that's helpful to you and your company.
Yeah, I'll begin with the headline, which is when I came, I said that tech is important to me. It's a critical discipline. We were woefully underinvested in tech.
Like every restaurant.
Right. I believe, secondarily, that tech is an enabler that will allow you to grow your business. And I came here, and my whole mindset for the better part of 38 years is grow, baby, grow. I want to grow. I like being part of growth.
Like baby grow.
Baby drill.
That's podcast gold.
Over the past, my CTO, Kelly McPherson, is probably going to kick me for this.
No, she's not. She's been on the cast.
No. She's been on the cast. She's great. I was going to say, we've invested north of $4 million over the past 3.5 years.
Is that more or less than Daily Provisions downstairs does? What do you think?
Oh, man, you want the answer to that.
I'm doing it. Listen, we're trying to get insights.
Yeah. Spent 4.5 over the last 3 years.
Yeah, on tech software, tech hardware, that will allow our chefs and our GMs to get the hell out of the office and in the kitchen and in the dining room floor, right? And, we've upgraded everything from our payroll processes. We have a software called UKG. Mm-hmm. We have 7 Shifts, which is an amazing platform that allows our managers and our employees scheduling, communicate to the staff.
Right.
And we just are constantly looking for just the newest technology that will allow us to enhance both the guest experience and the employee experience.
I love it. I think it's super important. Chip, I know you wanted to get a little. Can you want to say something or no?
I'm good.
You wore the hat, that's enough?
Look, I write too much.
I know Ingest has been working with Kelly a long time.
I write too much, I talk too much, but everything comes with intentionality.
One of our portfolio companies has been working with you guys a long time.
Intentionality. So I chose the Ingest hat today because I know
you and Dan have a love affair, a bromance. You smoke cigars together. It's good.
I also feel that Kelly and the team at Unisquad Hospitality Group have been one of the great super users and really hugely helpful to Ingest roadmap. So I did think I didn't have a Unisquad Hospitality hat. Maybe I'll get one some days, but I wore the Ingest hat as a shout out to what the good thing they're doing together.
Yeah, we love our partners at Ingest. There you go. Exactly right.
All right, Chip Wade, are you ready to play a quick game of hot or not?
I am. I'm excited.
Hot or not in the food service world. Here we go. Chip, I'm going to throw a couple of ideas out. You just say if it's hot or not. 4-day work weeks. Hot or not?
Hot.
Tableside payments. Hot or not?
Hot.
Cross-concept loyalty programs. Hot or not?
Not.
Jimbo, Chip has opined on 3.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go? You always like to take it to another level.
Yeah, no, I mean, all of them I'd be so curious to play, but since I know there's a limited window and you told me to choose one, I think...
You can choose 2, Jimmy.
No, I'm going to go with 2.
Your podcast.
I want to go tableside payments, particularly because of the diversity of the Unisquad Hospitality portfolio.
Yep.
So I'd love to know, expand on that and the hotness of that, because you guys uniquely, again, cover a lot of ground.
Yeah.
In terms of brands and quick serve versus full serve. So I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, so I think about this as we think about this is what problem or problems are we trying to solve? In our industry, for years, we have essentially held the guest hostage at the last mile of their experience.
They're waving. Excuse me, I'd like to leave. I have a show. Hello.
Exactly. And the check processing period could be 10, 12, 15
Back.
minutes.
It's forth. It's back. It's forth.
And so this idea that, I can expedite my end-of-the-meal experience, my payment process, which is critical. Number two, my credit card never leaves my out of sight.
That's compliance right there,
and
right?
it's in compliance. We got security issues. Exactly, is critically important. I'm a grow baby grow, and if we can, thirdly, if we can expedite the payment process, we can celebrate those guests as they exit the restaurant, and all of a sudden I get a faster turn.
Yep.
I all believe in getting seats, keisters in seats.
Yeah.
And so this is critical.
Yep.
And
Agreed.
finding the right partners to do it quickly. Our servers like it. Our leaders like it. And so it's hot, and it will stay hot.
I jumped on that in part because I hear so many, particularly in light of the full service, some of your restaurants being full service high end, how some guests could be critical of that dehumanization of that moment, and yet. If you listen to Chip and the reasons why it's important, and it's such a win for everybody, but I understand that we're still, and I think if anyone's going to do it, let's say to the highest level, it'll be you guys, of making sure that high-end experience is still being felt.
Yeah.
Not cheapening it with like a kiosk. It's not a kiosk. It's just a pay at the table. It's table side, because ultimately that'll save so much time, and it can be done with devices that are very elegant and appropriate for the setting. So I think it's a win. But I have pushback from some folks like what do you mean you're not going to take my credit card? We shouldn't take your credit card. Your credit card needs to stay
It's
with
actually,
you.
it's like you said, it's not even compliant. You're not
Yes.
supposed to.
Yes.
That's how credit
Yes.
cards get stolen.
Yes. Yeah.
Because some nefarious person is doing a swiping thing and they steal your information.
That's why they made us responsible for those chargebacks.
But I would think that the big thing is, I know a lot of people on the sales side of that tech, the pay table, they're always like, oh, you'll turn more tables, you'll turn more tables. To me, it's really, forget the turning the tables. It's a better experience for your guests.
Yes.
Without question.
If you want to sit there and have another glass of wine, sit. But if you want to, you just pay and you're ready to go whenever you want.
How much you want to go, you go.
Yeah,
Yes.
and because that you see that flagging down, it's
That's
embarrassing. I hate that.
And I would say this, I will add, one is because of the pandemic, people value their time more today than they did in 2019, 2018, right? Guests would come in the Gramercy Tavern before the pandemic, and it was very common for them to have a 2.5, 3 hour lunch,
Yes.
right? Now people are like, you know what? I value my time.
I got shit to do.
I got shit to do.
You can say it on our podcast. Don't worry.
By the way, Chip, you're like a bachelor party, the lowest common denominator. Chip was being very proper with his verbiage.
Yeah,
He
but
keisters.
you know
He had
what?
keisters.
Sometimes
You're dragging
shit's
him down. You're dragging him
I
down.
do that to most people.
You're
Jim. I do
dragging
that
it
to
down.
most people. I bring them down. Yeah, I love it. It's true. I'm very excited about that. That is a big thing about the tech. But I got to tell you, I got to jump into another super exciting segment. Chip, I think you're going to be really good at this, and I think you're going to beat Jimmy on this one. Okay.
let's play.
Okay.
We're going to go The Spice is Right.
Oh, jeez.
All right. This is one of my favorite game shows. When I was younger, and I would always just pretend I was sick a couple days, because you wanted to stay home.
Yes.
And watch Bob Barker and The Price is Right. That was the best. That could be like, even if you had a little sore throat, that would make everything go away. All right, Chip, are you ready for The Spice is Right?
I believe so, yes.
Jimbo, I think we got like a modern version of The Price is Right music right now. This is like,
All right.
This is like the 2000.
It's your new roadcaster.
Yeah, I think it's not the right Price is Right.
Okay.
But it's nice. Anyway, all right, here we go. Chip, you started your career at Dunkin Donuts. I'm going to ask you and Jimmy to go ahead and guess the price of Dunkin's breakfast meal deal. I know it's been a while since the Dunkin' days, and I bet you the price is probably a little higher than when you started there.
Little bit.
Do you remember what was a cup of coffee when you were at Dunkin'? Do you remember?
I distinctly remember a donut being 23 cents.
23 cents.
For a donut.
For a donut.
That was, then it was made
in-house, right there.
Not today, right?
Time to make the donuts.
That's
They don't
right.
do that anymore. Anyway, all right, here we go. Dunkin' breakfast meal. This includes 1 medium hot coffee, or iced. You can get it iced, Jimbo. A bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, and hash browns. Okay, we're going to play Price Right rules. Guess the price without going over.
We do have to go first or second.
Yeah, Chip
I will go
goes
first. I'm including tax into my calculation, and I'm going to go for...
Guess as close as dollars and cents. I don't know about the tax and the... I don't know about that.
Here we go. Let's go for $12.95.
$12.95. No tax. There was no tax. Do you want to change your answer?
I'm going to say at $12.95.
$12.95. Final answer, Jimbo.
Okay.
$12.95.
I'm not using Chip's answer in any way, shape, or form to shape my answer because I was thinking $8.65. So I'm well under
Okay.
Chip.
You know what that means? Nobody got it right. You're all over. So we're gonna have to go back and guess again.
Wow.
This is what Dunkin' breakfast meal. It's a coffee, a bacon, egg, and cheese, and hash browns. Chip, you're over.
I'm over. Okay.
was I.
You got to guess again.
Yeah.
Your guess was what?
$8.65.
$8.65, Chip. So we're gonna have to go lower than $8.65.
I was going
And
with
you can
New
win.
York
By the way,
prices,
if you
so-
get it on the nose, you win the showcase show.
win
You
the
win
showcase
both.
showdown.
Both.
Yeah.
And I can't even tell you what it is because it's amazing. You're gonna love it. You probably won't even want to work
Half-
at Union Square Hospitality Group
half
anymore. Yeah. I mean, you're gonna.
Let's go for $5.45.
$5.45 locked in. Final answer, Jimbo.
$6.70.
We have a winner. Ding, ding, ding. Mr. Chip Wade is the winner of the Showcase Showdown.
Wow.
It is $6 according to my thing here.
Yeah.
$6.
That is a
Chip
bargain.
Wade. Listen, the guy worked at Dunkin' Donuts. I ain't gonna beat the
All
guy.
right, I respect. Absolutely respect.
He was going crazy on his inflation.
I was
at
going to, yeah.
$12.95. But maybe you were thinking it was for $2. You know, I'll give you that. Anyway, Jimbo,
All right.
let's just jump right into the. We got to jump right into the Tuesday trivia right
Yes.
now.
All right, listen. At the top of the show, I gave you 3 factoids about our friend Chip, and then Chancey did a guess which
I'm
one.
so excited
Which
about
one
this.
is the not true factoid? Fact 1: Chip was born in Santiago, Chile. Fact 2: Chip collects rare and antiquarian books. We defined what antiquarian books
He's
are.
got a poker face on him right
And
now. I'm
Chip
trying
is
to
a
look.
fanatical fan of the Dave Matthews Band, the DNB. Chatsy, care to guess?
I think he collects rare books. He would talk about books, and like I said, born in Santiago, Chile. No, he was not born in Chile. No. He's a big fan of Dave Matthews, and he wasn't born in Chile. He was
All
in
right.
Dunkin' Donuts back in whatever. I saw the
Is that
notes.
your final answer? You're locking it in? You're locking
He was not
locking
born.
it.
I mean,
Locking
he
it
was
in.
not born in
All right,
Chile.
Chip.
Look at the guy.
Chip, how'd Chatsy do?
He wins the prize.
From
Congratulations.
Santiago, Chile. Yeah.
I think it's from something about Mary. You know, that's he's like, are you an architect? Yes. Have you ever been to Santiago, Chile? Twice.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, I gotta tell you. I love it. I love it.
You want to get any color on this on the books? You want any more color?
Yeah,
You good?
let's. No. I want to know about this antiquarian
books.
I mean, I
Yes.
can't even say it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm a reader. I read voraciously. Almost 20 years ago, I stumbled into a bookstore in Boston. I fell in love with that particular book, and I'm a curious person by nature, and I just started collecting books. Then I'm a geek, so I would go to rare and antiquarian
First editions, is that the key?
These are some of them are first editions, some of them are signed.
Okay.
So that's the rare part when
Okay.
they're signed.
Right.
I collect in 4 areas. I love historical business. You mentioned the Hotel DuPont. I have a book about the DuPont family.
Yeah.
I have a book about Nestle.
Right.
I'm a geek. I have a book about the Quaker Oats family. When they came to the States, oatmeal was not originally a breakfast food or cereal.
Right.
And so I collect them.
I love it.
Yeah,
So
rare.
interesting.
Yeah. I also collect in historical presidents.
I love that stuff. I'm just as geeky
Yeah.
as you. I love talking about the food service space and
Yeah.
where company, because people don't really recognize like so many of these companies that we know these names.
That's
they
right.
were people. They were people from like who knows when.
Yes, 2 centuries now.
Yeah. No, it's just they, and the names of the foods and the names
Yeah.
of and you're like, yeah, like when you just say Quaker Oats.
Yeah.
And it was probably, I don't know, were they from Ireland or something? Where were they from? I mean, remember?
They were from England.
England, yeah. And they were eating oatmeal. Was probably like a dinner or something.
Oatmeal oats were
Oats.
originally just to feed the horses.
Just to feed-
right? It's just like
Right.
oats, and so these are entrepreneurs. Sometimes they're scientists, and they constantly think. And all of a sudden, you've got this breakfast cereal,
Yeah.
if you will.
Where would we be out without Kellogg's?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, all right, listen, we got one last thing we got to get to, Jimbo. We got the branded quickfire. Chip, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, here we go. Branded quickfire. 5 lightning round questions. Don't think too hard. Don't think too long. If you could have dinner with anyone in the world, dead or alive, who would it be?
I'm going to have dinner with Malcolm X.
Malcolm X.
My grandfather, huge influence.
I love it.
I'm going to have dinner with Dave Matthews.
Aha. All right, that's going to be a hell of a dinner.
Can you imagine that?
Dave going to play? Is Dave going to play a little something?
Dave will probably start out and then he'll join in
Bring
the
his guitar or
conversation.
something?
Yeah.
What's the most used app on your phone?
The most used app is my podcast app.
Spotify or Apple? What are you using?
Apple.
Apple. Got it.
Yep.
And I know the Hangout's obviously the most listened to, so I don't have to ask you that.
Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
that.
Yep.
If you weren't in hospitality, what career would you have pursued?
I would love and dream to be a late night talk show host.
Me too.
David
Me
Letterman.
too. We got to get our own show.
There we go.
It's the Shatsy Wade Show. Yeah, bitches. Oh, yeah.
Jimbo's out.
Yeah, Jimbo, you're out, man.
Wade and Shatsy.
Late night with David Letterman, my favorite.
What's your Uber rating?
4.9?
Damn, everyone is higher than you. What am I doing wrong? And don't tell me at the airport story again.
It's not the airport story alone.
I'm just an asshole in the Uber.
By the way, he said that. I didn't say a word.
Yeah,
He said
yeah.
I don't even say anything, and they go the wrong way. They don't go. I know how to get to the airport. What are these guys, nuts?
Hold on, and every listener of the podcast now knows why your Uber rating is not so good.
There you go.
Everyone knows.
You know, there was a time you got no taxi. Jimmy, you'll appreciate this as a New Yorker.
Yes.
You got into a cab. They didn't have a map. They didn't have Waze or Google. You said where you wanted to go, and they got you. They knew where the traffic
That's
was,
right.
and they avoided it.
Yeah.
You get into an Uber. They don't know. I have no idea. Like, where are you going? They're like, I'm following the map. That's wrong.
Truly shocking that your Uber rating is not as high as Mr. Wade's.
All right. I'm not going to talk to any Uber drivers anymore, okay? I'm going to knock out. Okay, here we go. If you were to challenge Jimmy or I to a game of ping pong, who do you have better odds of beating?
I'm going to say that I would probably beat Jimmy.
Oh, look at that. I got to tell you.
By the way, I was actually liking this question. I was liking
Are
this
you a big
question.
ping pong guy?
I used to love ping pong. My skills have diminished.
I
It's pretty
do play
significant.
ping pong,
play-
like,
I do play some pong.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, this is one of the games this is one of the challenges we actually could effectuate and make happen. I will say, Chip is he has the reach. He is definitely a tall.
gonna spin one of
he's
these
a tall
days?
drink of water. So this is a gentleman that actually could really do some.
I watched a lot of ping pong during the Olympics.
It's fascinating.
fascinating
Yeah.
how they serve, fascinating how they play.
I was all about breakdancing. For the Olympics. I was all about breakdancing.
That's not a sport. I'm
Not,
thinking
not in
that's
the Olympics anymore.
That's not a sport to me. The ping pong was like they sat with the ball and they're like,
Yeah.
The way they
it was
hold the
yeah,
ball.
right. It was really wacky.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jimbo,
All right.
take us home, man, because
Yes,
we're just a little bit over time
All
here.
right.
We had it was really one of the better
We've got to
podcasts
let,
ever
we've got
had.
to let Mr. Wade get back to work. He's
We
got
do.
some daily provisions to continue to open on up. Listen, Chip, we want to thank you so much for being on the podcast today. Loved having you. Love your insights and sharing what's going on at Union Square Hospitality, and really what you guys are leaders in the industry. And that's not an easy role. But I have to say, you guys do it just so incredibly well, humbly. But you guys are great to work with. And we love watching everything you're doing and excited about Daily Provisions. If any of our listeners want to get in touch with Chip directly, you can email the podcast team at podcast@brandedstrategic.com, and we'd be happy to make the connection. We're well
Has
into.
anyone ever taken us up on that?
We'd have to check with our producers.
There was one individual that currently lives in Santiago, Chile.
Chile.
Yes.
Yeah. And USGH.com, right?
USGH.com
.com.
is the
Learn more about where the restaurants
is the URL. And
Yeah,
so,
they got the best
again,
restaurants.
Chip, I'm going to pass it back to my boy Shatsy to close this out now. But
Yeah, I
really,
love
thank
it.
you for being
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you, Chip. Wait, as well, a couple real quick little housekeeping things, Jimbo. You know, we got a few housekeeping things we got to
Always.
get to. Listen, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, do it. We're also on YouTube, by the way, at hospitalityhangout.com. No, just at Hospitality Hangout at YouTube, and we are streaming all of these great episodes.
Oh,
You
boy.
can see us. So if you don't think that Chip Wade is good looking, go to YouTube and let me tell you, the guy's an Adonis. Okay, he's gorgeous. And if you think Jimmy's good looking, I'm going to tell you, go check it out. You'll know he's not, and neither am I. So you'll see the truth right there. And by the way, if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, hospitalityheadline.com, it is every Saturday morning at about 6 a.m. It comes out, and I got to tell you, you will love it, absolutely love it. And that's all I've got. Thank you, Chip Wade, and thank you, everybody. Cheers,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers.